In last video, you know how to call C# function or get C# variable inside Visual Scripting script. This video, let's do the opposite. Send some message and value to Visual Scripting from C#. How to get object variable from C#. How to get scene variable, application variable or any Visual Scripting variables from C#. Create a new empty object. Name it my object. Then add new Visual Scripting script. Name it with any names you like. Add on start, add a trigger custom event. Name sample custom event. And custom event with same name. After game is started, print a message to debug log. This is a message inside Visual Scripting. If you press play, it will print a message to debug log as we did. Now remove on start event. This custom event will not trigger anymore. Let's do something to trigger it from a C# script. Create a C# script with name tutorial script. Double-click to open it. We don't use update event, delete it. And gray texts are unnecessary code in C#, remove them too. Let's create a new function and call it onStart. Create new function with name send message to Visual Scripting. And we will run this function at onStart. It is a good practice to add private or public to any functions. Private means it can be used inside this C# script only. We will trigger this custom event in Visual Scripting. It will has the same name in C#, custom event. After enter it, a namespace, using Unity Visual Scripting was added. It is a required to use events of Visual Scripting in C#. To trigger a custom event, we use trigger. Just exactly the same in Visual Scripting. It will has input of GameObject and input of name. So in C#, it will require the same. First, is GameObject of this custom event. Then second, is its name. This is this component C# script. GameObject is get GameObject of this C# component. Next is name of custom event. You can use Ctrl+C to copy its name correctly. Done. This code can trigger a custom event. But let's add some message to know that we calling this code from a C# script. Make sure you add our C# script into object that has custom event we will trigger. If you press play from C#, it can call a custom event in Visual Scripting now. To add an argument or any values into a custom event, we will add it here. Let's add this argument into our current message to check it later. To add a value to this argument from C#, you can enter a value directly after custom event. It can be a string, integer, float or any type of value. Or you can add it as a variable. The value of variable my name will be added to this argument in custom event. Let's run the game to test. The custom event is calling and trigger from our C# script. And a variable value is added and sent to this custom event too. Any game object should be defined at game start, because it is too heavy to run it at middle of game. I recommend you always call it at onAwake. Awake event will be triggered before onStart. Let's create a variable to add our game object into. Game object will have a type as GameObject. Let's set it value at onAwake. You can do the same to get GameObject of current object contains C# script. Now you can use variable myGameObject anywhere you want. If you run the game, it will give the same result. This time, remove C# script from my object and create another object. Then add our C# script to this object. But we have only one custom event inside my object only. Let's do something to call this custom event from another object. To get GameObject my object, call GameObject find. This event is same what you use in visual scripting every day. Add name of my object to get its GameObject component. After you have GameObject of my object, you can use it in our custom event to trigger a custom event on my object. Press play. And we're calling a custom event inside my object visual scripting script from a C# script of another object. On my object, create a new object variable with any values as you want. Let's do something to get the value from our C# script. In visual scripting, we usually use getObject variable to get its value. In C#, it will be the same. Open our C# script. I will remove this function, we don't need it anymore. And let's get GameObject that contains this C# script. Call a new function at onStart to get object variable from visual scripting. To get a variable inside visual scripting, we use variables. As I mentioned, green text will be a class or called as a component in C#. After dot is all events that can be used in this component. Variables object is an object variable. Yellow text in C# is a function. After it always around brackets to use it. If you point over this function, it will show all input requirement of this event. It needs an input GameObject for object variable. That's same in visual scripting. In object variable, you can set or get its value. It just need a string or name of the variable. As you see, Visual Studio will tell you how to use any event in C#. Just slowly point it over on any function or event. Let's copy the name of object variable that you want to get its value. The code is done. Now you will have the value of object variable from this. Let's put it into a C# variable to show it on debug log. You can use this way to force a value to an integer type. Or just use var. It means object type in visual scripting. Var can be any type of value. Let's print out object variable value that we got to debug log. Press play to see the result. As you see, this is result from your C# script. You know how to get an object variable easily in C# script now. To update or set new value to a current object variable, use event set. You can see the small text of tips, how to use this set event. First argument is name of variable, and second argument is the new value. Enter new value, 100. And this is a no return function. We don't need debug log here as well. Current value is 99. Let's press play. The new value 100 is applied to this object variable from C# script. First, let's create some scene variable. Name it my scene variable. With value is 1. Now on our C# script, delete the old code. To get scene variable, we use variables active scene. Let's apply a new value to current scene variable. It has two arguments same as object variable, name of variable, and new value. Add name of scene variable, and new value you want to update it. The current value of scene variable is 1. After press play, the value of scene variable has changed to 2, because we used code in C# to change its value. Let's create some application variable. With some value is 10. In C#, to get an application variables, we use variables application and use set or get value, same as we did. Just add name of application variable to get its value. Let's print out its value to debug log. Press play, and you can get the application variable from your C# script now. Last video, you know how to call function or get C# variables from visual scripting. This video, you understand how to send message to visual scripting from C#. It is super easy to integrate between C# and visual scripting. You can use C# and visual scripting, same time in your game from now. Next video, learn how to use C# Unity web request in visual scripting. Thank you for watching.